For fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Just when you think this shit can't get any worse. Just when you think this shit can't get any worse. Dillian Whyte, the worst advised fighter in all of boxing. The worst advised fighter in all of boxing, yeah? Lord Dillian is back at it again. And this time, he's got a whole litany of excuses. Jesus Christ. I mean, we've got a special guest here. I've mucked someone around. We've got a special guest coming on. It's not Mickey Elliott, but it's someone very near and dear to my heart who I'm hoping will be arriving in the next couple of minutes. Who I actually messed around and told them we'd be starting at 7 p.m. And then something came up, and so we're a little bit late. We're going to be going through all of Dillian Whyte's excuses one by one. He pushed me. You know these excuses? It reminds me of Derek Chisora, that one, didn't it? Remember Derek Chisora? He glassed me. He glassed me. He pushed me. Absolutely unbelievable. Dillian Whyte, the worst advised fighter in boxing today. In fact, while we are at it, while we go through these excuses one by one, I'm hoping to go through them with Ingram, who I'm hoping will be coming on any minute now, actually. So I've given Ingram the link. I hope Ingram will be joining us to go through these excuses any minute now. And we'll go through them. In the meantime, I've got a nice mem. I can see Yo King's here. Yo King, I've got a new mem. At the end of each of Dillian Whyte's excuses, we'll be playing this right here. Bomba Clarty. We're going through each of these guys' excuses, man. At the end of every excuse, you'll be getting a Bomba Clarty. He pushed me. He pushed me. What he did was illegal. Bomba Clarty. Bro, honestly, this guy is, look, it is just absolutely unbelievable. Okay, look, waiting for Ingram, yeah? We're waiting for Ingram. We're 4 minutes in, so we're gonna crack on and get through it. I mean, this is just unfucking believable. Do you know what? I've actually just finished watching part of this video, yeah, on the Sky Sports Boxing website on the left-hand side. And you know what? There's one excuse that nobody caught. Obviously, I can't play the video for copyright reasons, but there's one excuse that nobody caught. He actually said in this interview with Sky Boxing, yeah, Dillian Whyte actually said that he was a lot more elusive than Tyson Fury was expecting. That's what he actually said in this interview. He said, but you know, I was a lot more elusive than what they was expecting. Elusive? Elusive, bro. Dillian Whyte thought he was elusive. Bro. He claimed he slipped up. He was slipping into Tyson Fury's jabs and double jabs all night long. No lie. I swear, Toby players, I'm not even lying. Go watch this interview on Sky Sports. I've actually got it at the part, but I can't play it. He actually says in this interview, because, but you know what? I was a lot more elusive than what they thought. Fucking hell. I think he needs to go look up the word elusive in the dictionary, innit? Jesus. Samuel Harrison said about as elusive as a cargo ship. Oh my god! Right, here we go. Let's get this on. Let's get this on. Skills Pay the Bills boxing's here now. For those of you who don't know, Skills Pay the Bills will be coming on the show. As soon as I get Mickey Elliott on, I've got an order of things. So it's Mickey Elliott, because I promised Mickey Elliott, Riku Report, and then Skills Pay the Bills is going to be like one of our main technical analysts on this show. Like, what this guy knows about boxing is just absolutely unbelievable. So stay tuned for that. We'll be doing that shortly. So shout out to Skills Pay the Bills. Right, let's go through these excuses one by one. All right, here we go. Dillian Whyte says he should have received extra time to recover after he was pushed by Tyson Fury just seconds before his world title stoppage defeat at Wembley. Right, let's go through some of these quotes. Here we go. Whyte, who was speaking to Sky Sports at the Fairmont Hotel in Windsor Park, said, I was buzzed, but obviously I was trying to regather my senses. And he proper pushed me, and I fell over and hit my head on the canvas, which is illegal. He fell over and he proper pushed me and I hit my head on the canvas. What's funny, Dillian, because we've got Exhibit A over here, and it didn't look like you hit your head on the canvas too bad. Now listen, hopefully Frank Warren don't do me up the arse for playing this, but let's see if we can just go through this. This is Dillian Whyte hitting the floor, in round 6 of the fight. Let's have a look at Dillian Whyte's head. His head hardly touches the canvas. It's a terrible, terrible view. But let's see if you can see that. His head hits, but his head hardly touches. Mainly the back of his shoulders hits the canvas. Can you see there? The man's making out, as if he slumped on the canvas and nearly knocked himself unconscious off the mat. If you look at the way he fell, that's clearly not the case in this video. Is it not? What do you guys think? Press 1 if you think Dillian Whyte's telling Porky Pies, about landing flat on his head. His head glanced the canvas at best. You can see he falls on his left shoulder. Can you see that? Look. Can you see he falls on his left shoulder? One more time. Yeah, exactly, Yo King. Left shoulder first. There you go. He falls on his left shoulder. It doesn't fall on his head. So there you go. Dillian Whyte. We disproved Dillian Whyte in the best part of the first 5 seconds of this show. All right, let's carry on. This isn't wrestling. This is boxing. I should have been allowed extra time to recover, and then carried on fighting. He should have been given extra time. Yo, this ain't a football match, bro. He should have been given extra time. Yo, he thinks the ref should have come in and given him like stoppage time. Like, what does he want? Like, he wants the ref to come in and give him 5 minutes additional time, innit? Like, he wants the ref to like come in and hold up a board, like, you know, with a board with 2 or 3 in it. We got 3 minutes of additional time here. For what? For what? You got slumped, man. You got slumped. Talked about 1,000 days of maximum violence, and you got slumped, man. Ain't no need for extra time. What do you mean extra time for? You know Wembley have got a curfew on these events. Ingram's here. Ingram, I'll be bringing you in the next 120 seconds. I promise, bro. Bro, there's a curfew at Wembley. Like, there's a curfew at Wembley. Like, everybody has to be home. These events have to finish in a certain amount of time. Do you know what I mean? We ain't got no time for no extra time. We ain't got no time for no extra time. All right, let's go on. I got caught, no doubt about it. I got caught by a good shot. I went for the left uppercut. He went for the right uppercut. He's a bit taller than me. So obviously, he landed at his range. I was hurt. I was trying to get my senses together. And he full on two-handed pushed me. It wasn't like a one-arm thing. Terrible job from the referee, but it was what it was. I should have been given time to recover, go back to my corner, but Tyson Fury gets away with a lot of things. Bumba Ingram, how we doing?
I'm good. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I'm sorry for wasting half an hour of your time.
No, I've only just come in, to be fair.
You just come in. All right, so we're going through this list of excuses. No doubt you've heard the news today about Dillian.
Yeah, I heard. I did 2 shows yesterday. I've got a totally different perspective of the whole situation.
All right, we can get onto that. That's absolutely fine. Let me go through this list of excuses, and then we can go through it. Then,
Okay.
at the minute, the ones we've done so far are we've done. I was more elusive than Fury expected. We've done that one. We've done the. I landed on the back of my head. You basically implied the reason he got hurt was because he landed on the back of his head. I don't know if you saw this, but we've actually got the footage here. We play the footage here. You can see when he falls on his left shoulder, not on his head. Quite clear from the footage, but we'll play that in a minute. You can see there right now on the screen. He falls left shoulder first, then to his back. His head hardly hits the canvas. So there's that one. And we're going through some of the more ones. He said we're about to get onto the illegal behaviour. He's saying that Tyson Fury was doing illegal things in the ring. I'll tell you one thing I did see. I did see somebody punching after the bell. Repeat. Did anybody see that in the chat? Did anybody see a certain fighter punching after the bell? I saw that. I could be wrong. I saw that a couple of times. I also saw that in another fight involving Anthony Joshua, where a certain fighter was on the verge of being stopped in the second round and also punched said person after the bell, which also nearly caused an onside ring brawl. But we'll get onto that in a second. This is interesting. Terrible job from the referee. We'll get onto that in a second. And I'll bring you in after this. This is the last one, and then we'll go. He says it's about Tyson Fury. He said he would retire. I hope he doesn't retire because I want another go. Ingram, I'm just about to bring you in. Dillian Whyte wants the rematch. There you go, Ingram. If you want to pay another $24.99 to watch that, drop me a comment and let me know. What are we thinking, Ingram, looking at some of this stuff so far? What are we thinking?
I will say this. Knowing what I know now, and I didn't know, or I was being told, but I didn't want to listen. Dillian Whyte had no business being in that ring Saturday night. And it's easy to say in hindsight, but it really isn't hindsight. There was an interesting conversation had between Dillian Whyte and Jose Suleiman. Mauricio Suleiman, sorry.
Yes, I've seen this.
And
yes.
he turned around and he said, I almost lost my mind. He said, it cost me millions to get this shot at the title. Now, it's very easy to pick on these excuses that Dillian Whyte has said. But the interview I did last night with a certain individual basically said that Dillian Whyte is in, how do I term this, mentally not fit to have been fighting that night. And everything, he was in mass, from what I understand, he had suffered from mass depression before going into this fight. When he was in Portugal, one of the reasons he got away, this has been going on a long time. This move to Portugal to keep away, to be out of the limelight of the fans, goes a lot deeper. Now, I'm not making excuses for Dillian Whyte, but what I'm saying is this. Mental health, and I will talk about mental health, because when we talk about Tyson Fury, it's okay for him to have mental health and to advocate for mental health, because it's okay, because it's Tyson Fury. Nobody else in the world can have a mental health issue. Depression is real, okay? And the stuff that Dillian Whyte is saying here clearly does not make logical sense to those people who would look at this thing and say, God, what are you saying? What are you saying? Now, when he's saying these things, I have to ask the question: is he still concussed when these questions are being asked to him? One, two, his mental state before even getting in the ring to fight Tyson Fury. This is not Tyson Fury's fault. It's got nothing to do with Tyson Fury, to be honest. It's to do with him, his camp, the WBC, the fight with the WBC. I don't know the depth of what he had to go through with that, and probably none of us do in that situation. So that being said, and then looking at Dillian Whyte's comments, they don't. I mean, for us to look at the comments, say, "Oh yeah, well, you know, these things don't make sense." They don't make sense because.
Well, can we just look at these comments though? Because I have to say in counter, right? I came slightly prepared tonight. This is Dillian Whyte a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
When Deontay Wilder got beaten by Tyson Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Dillian Whyte labels Deontay Wilder a coward and a disgrace over Tyson Fury excuses. Wait. Let me just quickly say, just listen quickly. He said, "This guy is just a disgrace," Whyte told sources. I don't think we'll ever see him in the ring again. He's a coward and he's a disgrace. He said, "I think the behavior he's shown and the way he's acting and blaming everyone apart from himself and getting rid of the only person who knows anything about boxing, it's weird." Now, all I will say is this. I'll let you carry on. But what has Dillian Whyte done? Dillian Whyte has done exactly the same thing that he slagged off Deontay Wilder for. He's literally blamed everybody else for that performance he put in.
Okay.
Other than himself.
Good. I'm glad. Well, then, can you still find the correlation between Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder? When Deontay Wilder got beat by Tyson Fury, he went into depression as well. You know, when a man gets beat, people handle it in different ways. Now, for Dillian Whyte and for Deontay Wilder, as far as I'm concerned, when you look back at it now, they are displaying similar types of issues. So now, look, he said this, she said that, he blocked, he did this, he did that. All I'm saying, I'm not defending anybody. Listen, and there's another thing, right? When you look at Dillian Whyte, he isn't with a big-time promoter in that sense. He does things by himself. Not like he's attached. He signed a 5-year contract with Eddie Hearn. That's the way he's decided to run his ship. And for that, there is a way you will be treated and dealt with. All right. So all I'm very conscious, or I'm just being very careful of, is how I look at this whole scenario, knowing some of the stuff I know. So, do you understand? So I was one of the first people to slam Dillian Whyte and say, "What the hell are you coming out boxing the Southpaw for against a guy who's a better boxer than you? Why would you do that?" Then about the second round, he was blowing out his ass. I'm saying, this guy isn't trained. This guy isn't prepared.
Hold on a minute. When did he get this depression then? Do we know when he got this depression? So
this was going on way before the Tyson Fury fight.
Okay, right. Okay.
This is way before the Tyson Fury fight. So I've been getting told this about a year ago, but I wasn't listening to the stuff that was going on in the background.
Okay.
Now he was going to get elevated. He was around the time that Tyson Fury was going for the third fight. I believe he was fighting with the WBC to get elevated to full WBC status.
This is correct.
That's what I understood. I heard. I also heard that he was going to be getting 45% as an interim champion and not 20%. Now I ask the question, and I've asked this question to 1,000 people, not 1,000, but I've asked the question to many people, and I ask them this question: if I go into your workplace tomorrow, or you go to your bank and you expect a certain amount of money, and at the end of the month you get taken off 40 or 50% or 50% of money you should be getting to take home, are you just going to turn up to work the next day and act like nothing's happened?
Well, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Let me answer that. First and foremost, as far as I'm aware, the WBC rules are not cast iron that an interim champion always gets 45%. Apparently, if you look at the actual updated rules, there's a clear section just underneath that which says it's at the WBC's discretion. And they make, as far as I'm aware, last time I saw the rules, they make specific reference to cases where one fighter earns a lot more than another fighter. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if anybody in the chat can forward me that section of the rules, just so I can
Mm-hmm.
see it for myself to clarify I'm talking sense there, please let me know about
Now,
that. But I'm pretty
okay.
sure. Wait. Let me just say. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the first thing there. I think the rules don't specifically state
Okay.
that the champion is also guaranteed to get 45%. Second point is, what did Dillian Whyte actually register his purse with the WBC?
Listen.
I believe he might have. Did he register it as £300,000?
I understand. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
Because if he
Yeah.
did, that might have had something to do. And listen, I'm not saying the WBC have been. I mean, there's a lot of things in with Dillian, to be honest, as well.
Uh-huh.
We can't find, right. So the people are saying you registered it as 250K. Okay, right. We can't find anywhere any sign whatsoever of this arbitration case between Dillian and the WBC in regards to the purse split. We can go on the CAS website, right? We can go on the Court of Arbitration for Sport website, and we can see that there was a case lodged by Dillian Whyte against the WBC, and a lot of it seems to be around making Tyson Fury champion in recess and making Dillian the full champion and that kind of thing. We can't find a single evidence. I've never seen any evidence anywhere of any arbitration case regarding Dillian Whyte and 80-20 with the WBC. So I'm not sure how much of a leg he has to stand on. And also, Ingram, I have to be honest, and just saying that he got paid $7 million just to show up. And if he'd have won, he would have got an additional $2.5 or whatever it was $1 million if he'd have won. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to try and put someone down who's got mental illness, but I think most people who watched his performance on Saturday and looked at the state of that performance would say, based on the performance that Dillian Whyte gave, he was lucky to get the $7 million that he got. Because plenty of fighters have been involved in championship fights for a lot less money. Did Alexander Usyk get $7 million to go over there and smash Anthony Joshua to bits? I'm not even sure Usyk got $7 million to go over and smash Joshua to bits. So I'll let you talk. I don't want to talk over you, but I just think a lot of people will be thinking for the performance that he put in, I don't think,
But as I said before, I was the first to slam Dillian Whyte for that performance. He looked like he hadn't done any training. He didn't look sharp at all. He looked heavy. He looked, I mean, heavy in the way he was going about his business. He didn't look like he'd worked. He didn't look like he'd worked with Howard the Shadow Knight. I'm sorry. I just, from what I saw of him, that did not look like a man that was ready to fight for the world heavyweight title. It did not look like a man who'd prepared to fight for the world heavyweight title. That looked like a guy. That guy looked like a guy.
Talk. Sorry, I'm finished.
That guy to me looked like a guy who had a lot of issues, and when he got in the ring, he said, "Well, I'm a chance. I'm just gonna have a go. I'm gonna have a go." I mean, he did, because there was no. If you look at it from bell one, first of all, he comes out like a southpaw. When has Dillian Whyte ever fought like a southpaw? Ever? And you're gonna go against southpaw, fight like a southpaw against a guy who is a switch hitter, a known better boxer than you, from southpaw to orthodox. Why would you do that?
He's obviously told to do that. He's obviously given the okay to do that by his team.
Well,
Dillian hasn't got in the ring there in round one and just turned southpaw just for the sake of it. He's someone's told him.
Well, okay, all right. Well, then you tell me. Do you think Howard the Shadow Knight, former pro boxer, very good top contender, fought some really top guys, and as a trainer worked alongside Emmanuel Stewart and was in the corner of Lennox Lewis, do you really think Howard the Shadow Knight would instruct Dillian Whyte in the biggest fight of his life, 94,000 people, for the world heavyweight title, the holy grail of boxing, to turn southpaw against the world's best switch hitter?
I believe, and again, you could ask these guys directly, and if I'm wrong, I will come on here and I'll take it back. But I will say this. I believe they knew beforehand he was going to turn southpaw. I don't believe that Dillian turned up in that ring, just went in and made a last-minute decision to turn southpaw and didn't tell anybody. They would have known about that. I would also say, and let me also say about the weight as well. Dillian Whyte said he had a good camp, right? Now, I know all fighters say they had a good camp, so it is what it is. That's not really evidence of anything. Although we do have some videos here with him and his nutritionists that we can see on the screen here. And it does appear that he's put in some kind of work. You can see there he's with his personal trainer. They've got the numbers and things like that. Now, his weight, Dillian Whyte coming in, he's coming a stone or a couple of pounds heavier or whatever he came in.
Yeah.
Do you not think it's likely that the reason why he came in heavy is because he didn't want Tyson Fury bullying him around and leaning on him on the inside? And in essence, he did exactly what Deontay Wilder did. When Deontay Wilder, for that third fight, put on also quite a bit of weight. I think Deontay Wilder weighed the heaviest he'd ever weighed in his whole career for the third fight with Fury because he didn't want Fury leaning all over him. So do you not think it's possible that actually we spent a lot of this fight talking about mind games? Do you not think that it might be possible that actually the only one who got played with mind games here was Dillian? Because Dillian was the one who came in above his natural weight because he didn't want to get shoved around by Fury, and then he turned southpaw in an effect to try and throw Fury off. Do you not think it's a case of, well, maybe Dillian just ended up overthinking it?
No. Okay. If you're in the ring, your box, you turn southpaw, there has to be a strategy or structure as to what you're doing. Okay, I've turned southpaw. So what am I going to do? Am I going to rush Fury because I've turned southpaw? Am I going to take advantage of that? What did he do? He turned southpaw, and basically Fury's looking at him, and he just turned southpaw. There was no urgency in what he did. If you're gonna turn southpaw, okay, I'm turning southpaw. This is what I'm doing. I'm turning southpaw for the purposes of. I don't normally box southpaw in all my career. I'm going to come out the first round of the heavyweight championship of the world, the biggest fight of my career. I'm going to turn southpaw for how long? There was no structure behind what he did. So, okay, I'm turned southpaw. Man, and then what? And then what? What happened? How long did it last? And then after, did he do it again? He didn't. Frank Bruno, you look at Frank Bruno. When Frank Bruno boxed Oliver McCall, he started orthodox, and then he turned southpaw because he was trying to keep away from, I think he was trying to confuse McCall. He went and did the same thing against Mike Tyson when he thought Mike was getting on top of him. He turned southpaw. As soon as he turned southpaw, Mike caught him with right hand, and that was basically the beginning and end of Bruno. So me personally, I believe from what I've been told is that Dillian Whyte was a broken man before he even got in the ring with Tyson Fury, and he had to promote it in a certain way and say, well, you can't go and start saying, well, I haven't had the best training camp of my life. You've got to say these things when you get into the ring. You're telling 94,000 people. There's enough crap that was going on about him not turn up for the press conference. People still asking why he didn't turn up to the press conference. And
well, we can talk about that. Ingram, I'll let you carry on. Can I just quickly tell these people here, one sec, while we're talking about excuses. We're talking about Dillian's excuses. What's your guys' excuse? We've got 220 in here and 54 likes in here. Now, I know Dillian's listening. I know Dean's listening. So we can all do ourselves a favour and hit the like button, yeah? That'd be fantastic. 1 second. Ingram, I can't stop playing that. I just think, that's probably...
Hey. You know what? And you know what? I give Dillian all the credit in the world for saying it. After he turned around and said, I would go and fight Tyson Fury again. That's just the fighting spirit of the man. He'd fight Tyson Fury. He would fight Tyson Fury every day of the week. That's just the kind of guy he is. But would it be advisable based on what he did there? Not really. But then the same guy turned around and said he wanted to fight Povetkin again. So it's not like...
Hold on a minute. So do you think, Ingram, I'll give you my opinion after I ask you this. Do you think that if Dillian Whyte was in the right frame of mind, what do you think would have happened in that fight? Let's just say he was 100% and he was in the right frame of mind, what would have happened in his fight with Tyson Fury?
I'm not suggesting he would have won, but I'm suggesting he would have put on a better performance than that crap that he put out there.
What does that look like? What does that better performance look like?
What does that better performance look like? Well, okay. Let's put it this way. Now, the other key thing is who's the head coach? Who's the head trainer? Who's the head trainer?
Tony Sims.
If it's Tony Sims. No, you've got Xavier Miller and you've got and Harold the Shadow Knight. So, if Harold the Shadow Knight is head coach, then first of all, does anybody know the sparring partners that Dillian Whyte brought into camp?
No. I heard a few names, but I've forgotten them at the minute. So you think
Yeah,
you could have better sparring and better
of
frame of mind?
course, of
But
course, of
what would he have
course.
done differently? What would he have
Well,
done
okay. First of all,
other than not turn southpaw? What would he have done?
first of all, first and foremost, the double jab. I've been saying it from the start. The double jab and push Fury back to the ropes using the double jab. Fury moves back in straight lines. So if Dillian Whyte's best attributes would have been to double jab, push, get Fury going with his back touching ropes. And Fury's back touched ropes on quite a few occasions in that fight. But then Dillian Whyte threw, as James Uncle Bashir and Stacey McKinley, both on a show last night, said to me that, if you're going shopping, James Ali Bashir said, if you're going shopping and you don't just pick up one apple, you pick up a bag of apples, So when he was throwing body shots, he threw one body shot at a time. He wasn't, at no point in time did he get Fury. He had opportunity for Fury's back was literally against the ropes. And he did not.
Was he in range to throw those shots?
Yes, he was in range. Of course, he was range to throw the shots.
Okay.
He threw some good body shots. But I think for me, if you have a good training camp, first of all, your jab sharpened up, your distance, your timing, and once he threw that first big looping overhand right, that Miss Fury, I'd be like, I'd sit him down and say, listen, that overhand right that you're throwing, what the hell is that? Don't throw it again. Don't throw it again. Double up the jab, step two Fury, double up the jab, try and push him back by doubling up the jab because he moves back in straight lines. Fury always moves back in straight lines. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I'll give you my opinion. This isn't fact. This is just my opinion.
Okay.
My opinion is you could put two Dillian Whytes in the ring of Tyson Fury at the same time, and they both be sleeping on their back the next day, probably talking about how they got pushed over and blaming the referee and saying that the head bounced off the canvas. The reason why is because, first and foremost, Dillian Whyte has slow feet. Dillian Whyte has slow feet, and he has absolutely terrible balance. If you look at the way Dillian Whyte throws an overhand right, he's one of the few fighters. The only other fighter I've seen yet, a so-called top-level professional, do this is Ahara Davis. He throws an overhand right, and his back foot follows through, and that's why he's always squaring up. His feet and his balance are absolutely all over the place. If you look at the tail of the tape here, which I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm just for those of you who are watching. If you look at the tail of the tape, for me, it's a very, very simple open and shut case, right? Particularly on the reach. Fury's got an 85-inch reach, according to this tail of the tape, and White's got a 78-inch reach. Now, if that's correct, it's very, very simple. You need to close the distance. Now, to close the distance, you need two things that Dillian Whyte does not have. He has incredibly slow feet, and he's incredibly unbalanced. And you can watch any Dillian Whyte fight. Apparently he's improved all this. You can watch any Dillian Whyte fight, from the AJ fight to the Povetkin 2 fight. You can watch any Dillian Whyte fight. When he throws punches, he's off balance. He telegraphs. His back foot comes through. He squares up. His feet are literally all over the place. When you need to close the distance, you need to close the distance extremely quickly. And in order to get shots off and to get any power in your shots, you need to be balanced. And Dillian Whyte has... Let me just quickly finish like that. Dillian Whyte has no feet. He has no balance. So if you look at what adds up against Dillian Whyte, he's the shorter man by some distance. He's the smaller man by some distance. He has got a lot less reach by some distance. He has the slower feet by some distance. He has the slower hand speed by some distance. I've never seen any evidence to suggest he's a bigger power puncher than the Tyson Fury that we've seen in the last 3 fights. That's just me and my opinion. I could be wrong on that. I see Dave Allen go the distance against Dillian Whyte in his magical left hook. So all of a sudden he turns into an Ernie Shavers type puncher. I'm not quite sure. I know Dave Allen has a chin, but I'm not quite sure how that's going in on it. And he just lacks. If you look at, for me, his game plan, and he lacks everything you need to beat someone like a Tyson Fury. Short of landing that one big left hook here, if you makes a mistake, he doesn't have any of that, and he never will have any of that. And it's just as simple as that for me. You could put 2 or 3. The Matrix where you got all the agents. You could put 2, 3, 4 Dillian Whytes in all in the ring at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And they still all get put on the floor, in my opinion. And I think my opinion is he was fit. That's my opinion. But I'll let you. I wouldn't try to. You're my friend and everything. I don't want to try and come against you. But my opinion is he was fit. My opinion was the problems with Dillian Whyte started right when Frank Warren won the purse bid. And that's what the problem was. I think he was always gambling on Eddie Hearn to win the purse bid and Eddie Hearn to make life as difficult as possible for Tyson Fury and for Dillian Whyte to get all his home comforts. And when Frank Warren won that purse bid, The writing was on the wall for him. The writing was on the wall for him. And that's my opinion. But let me carry on. You talk, Ingram. And if you want to touch on the run up as well, if you want to touch up to the build up and your thoughts about Dillian not turning up to the press conference, you can talk away on that as well if you want to. 340 in the chat. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe. Ingram, chat away, brother.
Okay, so you asked me a question. The question was, what could Dillian Whyte do differently if he was in shape? So I'm answering that question. And again, I said if he had a good training camp. Now, I'm not making these things up about Dillian Whyte. I'm aware of what his shortcomings are. I'm aware of those things. And everyone's well aware of those shortcomings. And when you were aware of the shortcomings when the fight was announced, okay, but people still thought it would be an interesting fight. Now, when a person is not in the right frame of mind and, they have not trained the way they should have trained and not had the training camp they should have had, I'm not making excuses, but that's just the way it is. So I think it's a big disservice to any fighter who's not had a proper training camp. And again, it's retrospective what I'm saying, but when you say that he didn't have the foot speed to do this, that, and the devil knows what, right? There were moments in that fight that Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte was in range to throw shots. Now, when you've got the fitness to do the 12 rounds, and you've got the fitness to go do the 12 rounds, and you've put your ass on the line, and you've trained like a madman, and you train like a madman, you fight very differently to a man that knows that you've not trained right, and you're just trying to pace yourself out and pick your shots here and there because or you're going to gamble and throw the kitchen sink early because you know what, I've not got the stamina for this. Now, the shot that he got knocked out with, that uppercut, if you look at where Dillian Whyte's hands are, he was exhausted. He was absolutely exhausted. And that's because one of the reasons why was Tyson was throwing some tremendous body shots in the fight. Tremendous. Okay? And I don't think Dillian Whyte was in shape. I really don't. He may have looked body beautiful or, he looked like he. But to me, I don't think that he was in shape, in my opinion. I really don't. He's got, remember, this is promotion. Have you ever seen a boxing bout in any pre-fight that a fighter says, no, I'm not in good shape, I've been injured? The promotion doesn't sell. So I'm in the go ahead.
What kind of camp did Tyson Fury have for the third fight with Deontay Wilder?
We saw what happened, didn't we? We saw what happened.
What kind of camp did he have?
He didn't have a great camp, but okay. Now,
was his child in the hospital? His child was in the hospital.
Okay, right. But hold on.
But he turned up and did a job, right?
Right. Let's put this in. So, in terms of skill set, are you comparing the skill set of Dillian Whyte to Tyson Fury as to Tyson Fury with Deontay Wilder? Yeah, he's one of the biggest punchers in the world. If not the biggest puncher, and he dropped Fury in his ass twice and almost knocked him out. Right? But Fury always knew that if he pushed Deontay onto the back foot, he neutralized his punching power. And he knew if he took the fight to him. So the thing is, there was limitations about Deontay Wilder. We can all see those limitations. And Tyson was the superior boxer. The concern with Tyson Fury is getting nailed with that right hand. He got nailed twice with the right hand. Okay? But he's a superior boxer to Deontay Wilder. He's a superior boxer to Dillian Whyte. That is what it is. Go ahead.
No, I hear you. But and you make a good point. My point is, I mean, I'm not saying that Dillian Whyte's as talented as Tyson Fury, okay? But we're talking about. I just thought I'd raise it. I mean, Tyson Fury went through a camp with Deontay Wilder. Wait, let me just say, he went through a camp obviously that was very, very stop and start, and he nearly lost the child during camp, right?
Yep.
Now, win, lose or draw against Deontay Wilder, he still went in the ring, and he managed to go and put on a performance, and he didn't make any excuses.
But
he almost got knocked out. He almost got knocked out, but he went in the ring.
Yeah. How did you know about that camp? How did you know that camp didn't go well?
Because John Fury was interviewed in the Children's Hospital by somebody. There was some kind of journalist who went and interviewed John Fury in the Children's Hospital.
So there was media. Obviously it was open. It was people knew about it because John Fury spoke about it. So we knew about that stuff leading up to Tyson Fury. What did we know in the lead up for Dillian Whyte?
Nothing. I mean, all we've heard from him, his brother, his promoter, everybody, and from the videos that we can see online is that he's in camp and that he's been training hard.
What else can you say? What else can be said? What else can be said? We know, but it's like I don't get it. We know how most of us know how boxing works. We know. Have you ever on a promotion to the build up a fight, a fighter say, "No, I'm not in the best shape of my life. I've not been trained at final press conference." That would not sell tickets. Come on.
Let me just quickly say something to the chat. Ingrid, let me just say something to the chat. Ingrid, let me just say something to the chat.
Yeah.
Chat, can you do me a favor? Anybody who says anything overly, you can disagree, but don't start overstepping the limit, yeah? This ain't like a dancehall clash. This ain't like dancehall queen, yeah? We're just having a chat, yeah? So people need to just a couple people in the chat need to just chill out a bit, yeah? We're not clashing, yeah? Ingram's not Vibes Cartel. I'm not Ninja Man, yeah? We're not a Sting. We're not a Sting. There's no clashes. Right? It was just two mates having a clash. And before we move on to the next topic, right? Can we talk about what do you think? Let's talk about this build up. Listen. That was almost worse than his performance in the ring. But we'll talk about that. And just honest to God, anybody putting money on Dillian Whyte after seeing him do that in a training camp in the Algarve, it's just it's over. Let me say this right now. To what do you think about his choice to not promote the fight until the last week? What do you think about that? What do you think about the whole build up to it?
I think he was advised not to. That's why
we know by who. But God, I'll let you talk.
I think he was advised. I think he was advised not to. I don't know. It doesn't help when when you are your allegiance is to the rival promoter that hates the Hall of Fame Frank Warren. It is what it is. So I don't know. I don't know. But
go on, carry on. No, carry on. No,
yeah. Go on.
No, I was going to give you my opinion on it. Which I'm sure you've heard. I think honestly, I think Dillian Whyte's conduct in the run up to the fight. If everything we know from what his lawyers said to Frank Warren and this and that, I think his conduct is a disgrace. To be honest, I think his conduct after the fight also is an absolute disgrace as well. The reason why I say that is again, we went through the criticism that he made of Deontay Wilder and calling Deontay Wilder a coward and calling Deontay Wilder a disgrace and refusing to take ownership. Some of the things Dillian Whyte says makes no sense whatsoever. He claimed, and I believe him, because Tyson Fury's never ever sold out 94,000 before, and Tyson Fury, was never really a big ticket seller before he got in the ring with Dillian Whyte. Okay, his comeback fight, he did 20,000 and things like that. But listen, I do believe, that for the most part, people came out to see Tyson versus Dillian, It wasn't just they would have turned out to see Tyson versus Caballero, which is what we probably would have got if Dillian had pulled out, right?
Oh, we were gonna get Tyson versus Parker.
Oh, really? Okay. So for me, the way I see it with Dillian on this one, first and foremost, the conduct after the ring. He turned around and he said, "Look, this isn't the Tyson Fury show, right?" He got knocked out fair and square in the middle of the ring. Walks out of the ring. Hardly does any media. Hardly signs any autographs, as far as I can see. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. If somebody wants to dispute that, I will take that back and not apologise. As far as I'm aware, other than BBC, hardly done any media. Walked out of the arena. Didn't sign anything for the fans. Didn't stay with the fans. I heard Tyson Fury was still signing things up until 2 a.m. Which is fair because Tyson Fury won. But for me, that left a bad taste in my mouth. You say that the fans turned out to come and see you, and then when it comes down to it, you don't even say anything to the fans. I think choosing not to promote a fight he's been incredibly badly advised. I think it's a move that's gonna hurt him down in the long run because I think that really even the promoting is. I mean, you've seen Wilder. What's happened with Deontay Wilder? People still want to see Deontay Wilder fight. People are still asking for Deontay Wilder to come back and box because he put on a fantastic performance, and so some of Fury's fans have sort of, have a begrudging respect for Deontay Wilder and will follow Wilder because, they've seen Wilder in them 3 fights with Fury and they respect the fact that he took all that punishment and knocked Fury down and stuff. And there was none of that for me from Dillian Whyte, none of that. Didn't engage in the build up at all, and as a result, he's lost. I think he's lost. He's made a lot of money and hopefully he's set for life. But at the same time, I think he's missed a massive opportunity because he was on the biggest platform that he'll ever be on. And for me, he could have taken some of that platform from Tyson Fury. He could have got in there. He could have put in more of a performance. And then he could have taken a bigger fan base with him back to the zone. More people would have known who Dillian Whyte was. For me, he would have done that properly. The only way was up for Dillian Whyte. Win, lose or draw, the only way was up. But in the way, for me, Ingram, the way Dillian Whyte's come out of this fight, he's got the worst side of it possible because he hasn't promoted himself at all in the run-up to the fight. He hasn't gambled in himself in the run-up to the fight. He's hid away from the media. He's kept his mouth shut. He hasn't got his name out of there. And then he's got in the ring. He's hardly landed a punch, and he's been knocked out in 6 rounds. And that's the end of it. And he's going to be that picture of him and his left shoulder hitting the canvas. He's just going to be a meme. He's just going to be a meme now on Twitter for the next year and a half or so at max. And it's a shame. Listen, don't feel too sorry for the guy because, like I said, he earns $7 million for doing what he's doing. He's certainly better off than me, but to me, he has not maximized. The job of a fighter is to maximize their earning potential. He has not maximized his earning potential. I think he's the worst advised fighter in boxing. I'll let you talk.
I don't. This stuff about getting 6 tickets or no tickets for your family, and it was all about time. I also was told, and somebody will have to confirm this for me, but I was told last night there was no merchandise for Dillian Whyte. It was all Tyson Fury. So not only you're saying he's badly advised, where was his merchandise?
But here's a question about I don't know anything about the merchandise, so I can't say. I did watch an interview with Frank Warren this morning, and he did say that the thing about Dillian's mum not being able to get tickets was a load of bollocks. So Frank did say that. Now, the 6 tickets, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm inclined to believe that. But my question would be, why would Dillian Whyte...
And the Ryanair situation.
Right. Well, the Ryanair situation we'll talk about in a second, but why would Dillian Whyte want more than 6 tickets to a fight he doesn't want to promote? Where's the logic in what Dillian Whyte's saying? He wants more than 6 tickets to a fight that he's got no intention of promoting. He won't even let BT. He didn't even want Frank Warren and BT Sport to be able to use his image on the fight posters. He from what I understand, he just wanted an image of Tyson Fury on the fight. He didn't even want his image to be used on the fight poster.
If you don't want to, okay, is that to do with? Again, I don't know, but has that got anything to do with his connections with Hearn and DAZN? I'm just saying. And he would be the first fighter to have done it because there have been fighters from Matchroom that have fought before. Exactly. And this hasn't been an issue.
And what happened to them? Oh, no, sorry, you're right. Hara Davis did this before on Hearn's advisement. He got himself knocked out in similar fashion. But that's enough. But you carry on, Ingram. Sorry, carry on, yeah.
But, yeah, I get the whole thing about the press conference. That he really should have been at a press conference. And I get everything you're saying about promotion and moving forward, and it's not a good look on Dillian. No, it's not a good look. And I don't know whoever was advising him. I wonder if they had his future interests at heart. It sounds very, very insular. Now, if he paid so much money, I mean, this guy who's a lawyer, I mean, this guy, what's his name? Benz?
Lionel Hutz.
What's his name?
Lionel Hutz.
Is it?
he's a lawyer from The Simpsons. Look at the screen.
Sorry. Oh,
it's okay.
sorry. I'm in a world.
It's all right. That's what we call him. It's a terrible joke. Carry on, Ingram.
So yeah, that guy that he employed as a lawyer, I don't know his background. I don't know what, but stuff that I also heard that Dillian Whyte was forced into this situation with this fight with. I don't think he was intending to take the actual fight with Tyson. I'm not making excuses, but it just seems all round a complete mess. Because again, I don't understand. Like, even the fight itself. Let's take away all that stuff I'm talked about, the mental health and all that stuff. And all right, the fight itself. Why would you have Xavier? Not again. It's not disrespectful. Why would you have Xavier Miller giving the instructions and have Howard the Shadow Knight outside the ring as a second? An assistant. It shouldn't be the other way around.
Do you think, despite the mental health problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, listen, this guy's asking for a rematch. Do you think, listen, Ingram, this comment here from Dillian Whyte,
Mm-hmm.
he said he would retire, about his friend Tyson Fury. I hope he doesn't retire because I want another go. Do you think Dillian Whyte deserves another shot at Tyson Fury? I mean, I'm not talking about next. I'm talking about, do you think Dillian Whyte deserves a shot with Tyson Fury like ever again? Right?
Redemption.
Even to get his picture taken. Like if you saw Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury together, right? Should Dillian Whyte and someone wants to take a picture, should Dillian just do the right thing and step out of the picture? Not even get his picture taken with Fury. Because after that fucking performance on Saturday night, to be honest, I don't even want to see him and Fury in the same frame. But carry on.
Getting hit, as my good friend said, getting knocked out 3 times by the same punch, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. You get knocked out by the uppercut by Joshua. You get knocked up by an uppercut by Povetkin. You get knocked up by an uppercut by Fury.
What did you? No, go carry on. No, I've got another question, but no, carry on, please, again.
I can't question a man's fighting heart.
No, he's got heart. I never questioned that. He's a warrior. I never questioned it.
Or a man's desire to redeem himself, because he was very quick to want to redeem himself with Povetkin. But this is not Povetkin we're talking about. This is the heavyweight champion of the world, who is by a country mile a much better operator.
What did you think of these cards? Can you see these cards on the screen? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I heard this. I didn't see the cards, but I heard that they were trying to rob Fury.
I didn't ask you. Hold on a minute. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Dillian said in this fight, he said he thought the fight was close. We haven't even talked about that. Dillian in his interview with Sky Sports, he said he thought the fight was close, but then he made a mistake. But I know you think he's out there, but just clarify. Do you think the fight was close, or
no? I think he's concussed. I actually.
How did you score it? How did you score up until the knockout?
It was all Fury's winning the whole damn fight.
Yeah, just listen. You'd be surprised. There's some people online, no joke, and I mean you can find all sorts online. You know, you can find people who are into all sorts online, as we know. But there are some living, breathing mammals out there who legit had it 3-2.
Let me clear this up. I'm not the biggest fan of Dillian Whyte. Okay, I'm not, but I try and be as fair as I can. I try and keep away from the whole. I try my best not to do the whole fanboy thing. I really do. You know, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Dillian Whyte. You know, I respect him and what he's done in boxing and what and he's for the most part, apart from this particular fight here with Tyson Fury, going back, I've always appreciated his heart. I do think that him leaving Mark Tibbs has not been beneficial for him.
Do you think Mark Tibbs would have allowed him to go Southpaw in round 1?
Hell no. I tell you something. Mark Tibbs would have walked out on him if he wasn't training properly. I'll tell you that now.
You know, you asked about Dillian's lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some video footage of Dillian's lawyer.
Uh-oh. This is
just going to play it
now. I bet it's The Simpsons. Let me.
That is Dillian's lawyer, isn't it? It has to be, isn't it? It's Umar, isn't it?
Umar Johnson, yes. Mr. Umar Johnson.
Yeah, we'll talk about me.
I have a story about him, but I think I'll leave that for another day.
He's a legend. If you speak to him, tell him I said hello, and I hope that school's going all right. Right.
I'll send him an email. Go ahead.
Yeah. Going forward, let's talk about Whyte going forward. Look, I'm not going to be harsh and suggest that Dillian
Whyte going forward or Whyte going backward?
Well, but I think both is a fucking problem. I think in his dance classes. Do you know what Dillian Whyte needs to do? You know, Dillian Whyte had a crack at MasterChef. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Dillian Whyte was on MasterChef? Huh? MasterChef. Listen, he needs to go on Dancing with the Stars. That's what Dillian needs to go on. Get this man some
You're talking rubbish.
Get Dillian Whyte. Get Dillian Whyte some. You need to get Dillian Whyte some tap dancing shoes and see if that improves that footwork. I have to be honest with you, man. But yeah, look, I think going forward, where would you sign? People are saying that they think he's going to go with Sky because he's rocked up today and he's given the media a rare appearance. He's turned up on Sky. What do you think? And Ben Shalom, do you remember when during the post-bid negotiations when Ben Shalom, aka Ben Thalom,
I like him. I actually like him.
Yeah. All right.
Out of all the promoters at the moment, I like him in terms of just being refreshing. This, he's just there. He's just something different to look at now, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Well, he is refreshing. He sounds like he's got a bag of Murray mints in his mouth every time he talks. But anyway, you've got Ben Shalom, claiming, ringing up Frank Warren and claiming that he is a representative of Dillian Whyte. So, what do you think going forward? Do you know what? Honestly,
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him with Ben Shalom. I would.
What fight? Are you going to put him in a fight with Nathan Gorman? We do that on Sky Box Office. What fights are we getting with Ben Shalom?
I think if Lawrence Okoli moves up to heavyweight, I think Lawrence Okoli, Dillian Whyte.
Yeah, but Lawrence Okoli's on the zone, though. Lawrence Okoli can't because Lawrence Okoli's on the zone. He jumped ship to Eddie. What about this one? What about Dillian Whyte versus Steve Robinson?
Yeah, what a barn burner of a fight this is.
Let's do
barn
that one.
Burner.
Let's do that one.
Mouth-watering.
Let's do that on a 7 o'clock deal there. Dillian Whyte, there you got it all in one there, Ingram. You've got a fantastic story. You know, Adam Smith loves a story. He's always talking about stories.
Mouth-watering. He loves the story of the man from Brixton.
He got a great story, innit? We got the past, as in Dillian Whyte, and then we got the future of boxing, as in Steve Robinson. There we go. Everybody likes a. Don't make me laugh, all right? Everybody wants a. Yeah. Just give me a sec.
Bumper Classic.
He could do a jungle remix of him getting hit with the uppercut and going down, and him singing it in the background.
Hey, in another bit of news, guys, you're getting a lot of entertainment here tonight. This show is completely off the top of it. None of us knew. I knew what the topic was. Ingram didn't even know what the topic was. He just jumped on and we just started doing this. 308 people in the chat, 108 likes. If you can please hit the like button, that would be fantastic because you're taking the piss out of me there with that. Ingram, can I ask you a question just before we crack on? Did you ever see? No, we can't talk about. He's a friend of mine, so we absolutely cannot talk about him because I will get.
Well, actually, I'd like to get him on the show. Actually, so.
Oh no, yeah. You want to get? Oh yeah, ask him. He'll go on. He's a good.
I love to talk to Prince Patel.
I'll tell him. I will
only
get in
one
contact
problem.
with him directly.
There's only one problem with it though. It's because Barry Jones was in. That was my old gym mate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nah, Prince Patel's got no beef. Prince Patel's got no beef with him. 1 second, hold on. Ingram from BWTM Sports wants you on. On the show. He's a good guy. Oh, he'll talk to you. He's a good guy. Right. Did you ever see the Anthony Joshua interview where he's talking about being upside down? Have you come across this one yet?
Oh no, not another.
Have you seen it?
Not another interview. Oh no.
But I just want to know if you've seen. Okay, let me see if I can grab this for you. Apologies to those in the chat. If you're just joining, we'll be back on talking about Dillian Whyte's future in a second. If you just bear with me, because I think he won't sign with Frank Warren, but I think that he possibly should sign, but he won't sign with Frank. Well, then again, obviously it's bad blood. But what I'm saying is Frank Warren's got some very, very good heavyweights, and there's some announcements that I'm going to be doing in just a second. But in the meantime, just to break things up, I'm just going to get around to doing. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh, Ingram, I have to find this. This is an absolute classic. Here we go. Tweets and replies.
Oh, no.
But the thing is, you've already seen this anyway.
Have I? I hope not. It's just not another AJ alert. Oh no.
It's better than a one on property development. Oh, Ingram. Hold on, I don't even. Can you see this? Remember this classic fight? While we find this, remember this, Ingram?
Yes, I do remember it.
Yeah, it was a classic fight.
Oh gosh.
In the meantime, while I'm trying to find it, Frank Warren signed an extension with Queensbury. Joseph Parker is expected to sign with Frank Warren as part of the agreement for obviously getting the fight.
He probably has very little faith in or is trying to be smart. So he's got option on both guys. One question I do want to damn well ask: why does everybody keep leaving Joe Joyce?
What do you mean? No one's leaving Joe Joyce.
David Hay left Joe Joyce. Yeah.
Go.
Sam Jones has left Joe Joyce to move on to other things. I mean, Joe Joyce is a good fighter. I don't understand what's going on there. What is that?
Sam Jones has gone to Prebellum, hasn't he? That's it. Everybody else, he's still got the same team with him.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, David Hay was with him and and Hay was boosting up, promoting him, and then it's like, and then now Sam Jones is kind of, I'm just kind of like, why is that? I mean, he's a top heavyweight. Why couldn't you still kind of? I don't know.
If you were Dillian Whyte and you had a choice between a Cole, right? Who they got on Matchroom? Matchroom would have a Cole. They'd have Hrgovic. Yeah. They'd have Chisora. How do you feel about paying for Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora 3? What's the you want to see a Cole fight out of all those fights, right?
No. I guess. I think the Chisora 3 fight, just because of the first 2 fights he brought us, the third fight would be good. But I think Chisora's gone. He's finished after seeing him get punched up by Parker. No, I don't want to see Chisora fight again, period.
Okay. Right. I finally found the video. I'll play this in the meantime. Let me know if you can hear this. Ingram. Just want to get your thoughts on this, and then we'll move on.
Oh, my God.
Talking about the pandemic there, have you changed, you think, as a boxer or as a person during it?
100%. Like, when I first started boxing, my whole world just flipped on its head. I had to really step my game up and adapt to this new environment. And then, so imagine I'm upside down now, and the whole world's 100 miles an hour, so it's a bit of a whirlwind. And then with the pandemic, the whole world flipped on its head, which gave me a chance to now look up again. So I flipped on my head when I first started boxing. Then during the pandemic, where the world's flipped on its head, it's allowed me to resurface again. And I feel like in life.
Hold on, Ingram. You need to listen to what he's saying here. Look,
I can't, mate. He's all upside down, right side up, looking at things. I cannot digest this guy. What this guy is saying, for the most part, and it's just more like nonsensical philosophy. I don't understand upside down, right side up, looking at what I can't listen to. I'm sorry, mate. I can't listen to any more of that. Honestly, I can't.
A lot of people were advancing the case that the reason why the Usyk fight with Anthony Joshua hasn't been announced yet. Some people, I don't even believe this, but a few people have said that what's been happening is that Eddie Hearn was praying that Dillian Whyte knocked out Tyson Fury. Yeah.
To make Joshua
exactly. So he can ask Usyk to step aside. So he can throw Joshua in the ring with Whyte.
I can give you some information regarding Usyk, and it's not great. His wife was threatened by some Russians. His house was broken into. He moved once, and his house was broken into. And he's not been having the best of times, Mr. Usyk. So I just wanted to let you know that as well. And I've only found that out yesterday from our guy who has been doing Eastern European, East Ukraine himself. He's done Eastern European boxing coverage for us for the last 5 years. So yeah, it's not good for Usyk. I just wanted to let you know that.
No, that's bloody awful. All right, let's wrap up. Let's wrap this up. So I'm going to go and eat mussels and chips because my mussels and chips are getting really cold. Right, Dillian Whyte. Okay, Ingram. Let's do the Dillian Whyte scorecard. All right. Now I want you to take mental health out of the equation just for a second. All right. Right. Now, what are we giving? Hold on, Truth Wins. Let's just give you. Listen, that's a timeout, man. Come on, man. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to score Dillian Whyte out of 10 for the run up to the fight. Dillian Whyte's behaviour Imagine this is like the Dillian Whyte report card, right? The Dillian Whyte report card. What are we giving Dillian Whyte's behaviour out of 10 for the promotion of the fight and his behaviour in the run-up to the fight?
Now you're asking me to talk about say something, but I've got all this prior stuff in the background. It's pretty difficult to get.
Okay, then add it in. What do you think? Considering what he was going through.
Oh boy. In terms of, I'm going to give him unclassified.
Classic, that's a good one. I like that one. Unclassified. All right. Okay. I like that. Yeah.
No,
Gotta move on.
unclassified.
Right. Unclassified.
But I give him an A for just turning up, getting in the ring, and fighting. That I give him an A for that.
Yeah.
Fighting
What would you give
94,000
him?
people, I give him an A for that. A B for B sample. Oh, some people.
What would you give him for saying he was rather elusive in the fight? What would you score him out of 10 for that? He said he was elusive.
Unclassified. That absolutely is
Unclassified.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's a U. You know,
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen anyone when you
yeah,
schoolmate
yeah.
where they got it was an F. And people celebrate getting an F. When you got a U, that was worse than an F.
Right.
U.
Absolutely.
It was like,
Hey, let me ask you another question, because I know you don't like nicey at the press conference. What would you give Dillian Whyte out of 10 for his conduct to the? Actually, before we go on, right, Ingram, there's one person we have to rip into. And by the way, Ingram, I'll tell you this now. Anybody calling Tyson Fury the best heavyweight of all time is getting a ban. Because listen, I love Tyson Fury to bits, but that is I have to say that right now. Anybody on my channel who calls Tyson Fury the best heavyweight of all time is going to get an immediate ban. Because that's just absolutely.
Actually, I had a conversation last night with Bashir and Stacey McKinley. For people who don't know, McKinley trained Mike Tyson, and Bashir worked with Lennox Lewis as well when he was the right hand man to Emmanuel Stewart. So I asked them the questions about Mike Tyson fighting Tyson Fury, prime Mike Tyson, 20-year-old Mike Tyson versus Tyson Fury. Well.
Yeah.
You know what the answer to that was, don't you?
Well, listen, I don't think it's guaranteed. I know it sounds crazy. I don't think it's guaranteed that Mike Tyson beats Tyson Fury. Actually, I don't think it's guaranteed at all.
20 years old.
Well, hold on a minute. I think, look, I'm going to get murdered for saying this. Okay, guys in the chat, let me know what you think about this. We're talking about a prime Mike Tyson versus we have to say a prime Tyson Fury. Okay, Tyson Fury, right, has a physicality that has pretty much never been seen in the heavyweight division. We've never seen a 6'9" guy who can come in the ring at 260, 270 and move like Tyson Fury. I would imagine Fury will 100% be hitting that canvas against Mike Tyson, within the first 1 to 4 rounds. I'd be amazed if Fury didn't hit the floor, because Tyson was absolutely lethal, particularly early on. And I have no problem with people who make Tyson the favourite. But one thing I will say is this. The pattern that we're seeing with Mike Tyson in certain fights is that once you get him out of them early rounds, it can be a bit of a factor. If Tyson gets on top of him, do you think... What happened to Mike Tyson in fights when guys started getting on top of him? When he was no longer able to bully the guy? And he started being bullied. Did he? I don't think Mike Tyson in his career. I think they say he never ever won a fight in which he hit the canvas. Is that right, Osman?
Yeah.
Mike Tyson never ever won a fight where he hit the canvas.
And Lennox Lewis.
Okay,
That's
interesting. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But Dillian Whyte has got off the canvas to win a fight. Never been a world champion, but has actually got off the deck to win a fight twice. Something that Mike and Lennox has never done.
Okay, right. Okay, well, guys, I won't challenge that. It seems like a fair point. I just think if Fury gets out of the later rounds...
Yeah, but we're talking about...
You never know.
We're talking Mike Tyson under Customato.
I would make Mike Tyson a possible favourite, but I don't think it's cast iron. I don't think it's absolutely cast iron.
I don't know if Otto
I know you
can
say
get inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he can get on inside, but it's what Tyson Fury is fighting. By the way, are we talking about Tyson Fury that fought McDermott? Or are we talking about this Tyson Fury
we
today.
got to say Tyson Fury at his peak.
So what is his peak? Now, I would say Tyson Fury, who boxed Klitschko, is a better boxer. And the movement that Tyson Fury had when he fought Klitschko is much better than the guy now who is just a big power puncher.
Oh, we'll see. I know I'll get criticised for saying that, but I think
you got a great point. And I've said, what makes Mike Tyson great? What makes him a great heavyweight?
He was. I thought he
And
was one of the best of. Go on.
And who did he beat? When you stop
Tubbs, Razor Ruddock.
Yeah. Could you put him ahead of Evander Holyfield? You can't put him ahead of Evander Holyfield, can you?
Oh, do you know what, Ingram? You're definitely above my level on that. Holyfield, yeah. That's just slightly outside of my time there, Holyfield. I never got to see the peak of Evander Holyfield. When I was at school, it was Holyfield and Tyson 1 and 2. That's when I was at school.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was at school, it was. Yeah, when I was at school, when I was at primary school, it was Holyfield. That was around about time of Holyfield and Tyson 1. Let me just quickly say, what do you think about this man here? We can't go until we slagged off this clown here, John Fury. I think this man is an absolute and total liability. He nearly caused a mass brawl at the Wayne for me. I think his conduct's absolutely dreadful. What do you think about John Fury? Absolute liability, in my opinion.
Well, let's even go back before that. Remember what he said about Jake Paul's missus?
Yeah. He said he would do it like a dog.
Jesus Christ.
BT have just given Frank Warren an extension. Frank Warren's now got a 4-year deal with BT Sport.
Yeah.
I'd imagine there's a clause in there.
He's delivering. Frankie boy's delivering.
Well,
he's coming up with the goods.
I think.
Frankie's coming back.
Queensbury don't make anywhere near the amount of money that Matchroom. If you look at the accounts and company's house, I mean, it's just a complete mismatch. It's almost like looking at Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? But one thing I would say is that I think Matchroom, like I said before, are in a lot of trouble. I think when you pin your entire future on Conor Benn, I mean, or when you're reduced to calling Conor Benn a global. I mean, to me, and I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of things that I'm thinking that I don't say on here, but I'll be honest with you. When you've got promoters coming on and saying things like, Conor Benn is a global superstar. I mean, it's desperate times, really. It really is now desperate times.
Listen, this is from the same people that said Jess Harding was going to beat Gary Mason.
Yeah,
Gary
exactly.
Heard, Jess Harding was going to beat Gary Mason. Herbie Hyde was going to beat Riddick Bowe. All right, so come on, these people have got a track record, and
we'll see.
As soon as they fold, the better for me. I don't care. I don't care.
I think what's done Matchroom is exactly what I was saying 5 years ago, and I got murdered for saying it. Matchroom have a reputation of being fucking awful at developing young talent. They have a reputation of being dreadful at working with young talent. And what's happening here is, although Eddie Hearn is accepted by many as the number one promoter in the UK, I don't think anybody would argue right now, really, that Eddie Hearn is probably the number one promoter in the UK. I think right now we're at a passe in British boxing where Brooke is on his last legs. Khan hasn't got any legs. Anthony Joshua is, like I said before, he's getting banged up by cruiserweights. I mean, I don't know how much longer Anthony Joshua's got. Although, like I said, we'll talk about it another time. I don't think you could write him off in a fight with Fury or anybody else. I think people are writing off Anthony Joshua a little bit too early. But Anthony Joshua's, like I said before, starting to get a little bit of wear and tear now. So how much longer can the Anthony Joshua show go on for? And etc. We're starting to get into a new era of British boxing, and Matchroom are in big trouble because they don't have any real young talent. They've got no real young talent. Young talent doesn't want to go with them because they don't trust Eddie Hearn and they don't trust that matchmaking because they see all these guys on fucking Sky Next Gen get thrown in like uncooked chicken in it. Do you know what I mean? They see them get thrown in next day, pissing blood and stuff. Carry on, Ingram.
I said this a long time ago. They don't. If his matchmaker knew what the hell he was doing, they'd have quite a few pay-per-view stars now. But they rushed them into fights, flipping. They call that guy the Northerner, the new Golovkin. Remember him?
Yeah, Ritson.
Flipping him. They ruined him. they ruined, what's this other boy's name? The boy that's got, what's his name? Cheeseman. Cheeseman was
oh
decent.
my God.
They
Jesus
ruined Cheeseman.
Christ.
They ruined Cheeseman.
Brain
They
damage at
messed
age
up
22.
Brook. They messed up Brook. They screwed up Anthony Joshua. In fact, I don't know. I don't know any fighter they haven't royally screwed over so far. I think the only reason why they haven't screwed
Buatsi.
Ben over,
Buatsi.
it's only time. It's only time.
They completely screwed. They completely screwed Buatsi over. They were talking about Buatsi and the winner of Buatsi and Craig Richards fighting Canelo because Eddie Hearn's keen to get Canelo over to the UK. So if it's not John Ryder, he said it's a possibility that it could be the winner of Buatsi and Craig Richards. Can you imagine Craig Richards in a ring with Canelo Alvarez? British boxing's in big trouble. British boxing's in big trouble.
I've said it. All the things people have fought me tooth and nail to defend this guy, and I've said and Matchroom and their way. I even said about Josh Warrington. People said, "Oh, Josh Warrington sided with Matchroom." I said, "I'll get knocked out." As they said, "Oh, Billy Joe Saunders is sided with Matchroom." I said, "He's going over there to get knocked out." What's happened? These guys, they get line up. All they're interested in is lining their pockets and using our fighters as cannon fodder. They have no interest whatsoever of building pay-per-view stars for the future. I just think it's what I've always thought it's a cash, grab all the cash and disappear into the night. That's what I've seen them as.
Right, Ingram. Right. Final words from yourself. I really appreciate you coming on. I think what I might do is I might go and have some chips and have a rest, and then what I might do is come back and do another show because I appreciate the amount of common sense that you've injected into this conversation. But I need to properly roast Dillian Whyte tonight. I'm sorry. I need to really. Listen, if I saw Dillian Whyte, honestly, I'd put nappies on and go run halfway down the street. But I can't let Dillian Whyte get off the hook here without giving him a proper send-off. So I might have some chips. I might get some more Jamaican mems. And then if people would like to join me in the next hour or so, we'll come back and we'll have a good laugh. Ingram, you know I'm always happy to repay the favour. Actually, let me get up BWTM Sports and Gaming. Ingram, your final words on what we saw this weekend. Your final words on Dillian Whyte's performance.
Overall, as I said in my post-fight, he let himself down, which he did. And it's quite sad because a lot of people are looking forward to seeing at least a tear up from Dillian Whyte, but we really didn't get that. And the way he got knocked out was, you get knocked out 3 times with the same punch. I just wonder now whether him splitting with Mark Tibbs has been of benefit, to be honest. But signing out, I'm just going to say this. Bomba Clate!
Bomba Clate!
All right, Ingram. See you next time, brother.
Take care, man. All much appreciated.
Okay, guys. Guys, if you want to have a quick drink, I'll be back in 1 hour. Okay? Because what do you guys want? If you want me back in an hour, press 1. If you want to come back in an hour and we do the proper Dillian Whyte roast, give me an hour. What do you want? Press 1 right now if you want that. Or if it's too late, we can do it tomorrow. What do you want to do? If you want it in the next hour, press 1. If you want it tomorrow, press 2. Let's go. Can't get Dillian Whyte away with these comments. All right, you want the 1, yeah? Come back in an hour, yeah? And we'll do it properly. Bomba Clate!